Namaste children. We'll continue the lesson. What is democracy? Why democracy?
Topics we will discuss today. Definition of democracy, features of democracy. Now we are going to discuss why democracy, broader meaning of democracy. Right ways to run a government. A democratic government cannot do whatever it likes. It has to respect some guarantees to the minorities. Every major decision has to go through a series of consultations. Every officer has certain rights and responsibilities assigned by the Constitution. And now, what is a democracy? Democracy is a form of government in which rulers are elected by the people. Rulers elected by the people take all the major decisions. Elections offer a choice and fair opportunity to the people to change the current rulers. The choice and opportunity is available to all people on an equal basis. The chosen government should be limited by basic rules of constitution and constitution.
Arguments against democracy. This conversation has most of the arguments that we routinely hear against democracy. Let's go over some of these arguments. Leaders keep changing in a democracy. This leads to instability. Democracy is all about political competition and power play. There is no scope for morality. So many people have to be consulted in a democracy that it leads to delays. Elected leaders do not know the best interest of the people. It leads to bad decision. Democracy leads to corruption for it's based on electoral competition. Ordinary people do not know what is good for them. They should not decide anything. Clearly, democracy is not a magical solution for all the problems. It has not ended poverty in our country, and in other parts of the world, democracy as a form of government only ensures that people take their own decision. This does not guarantee that their decision will be good. People can make mistakes. Involving the people in these decisions does lead to delay in decision making. It also true that democracy leads to frequent changes in leadership. Sometimes this can set back big decisions and affect the arguments for democracy. I can explain this with the example, children, that is China's famine of 1958 to 1961 was the worst recorded famine in world history. Nearly 3 crore people died in this famine. During those days, India's economic condition was not much better than China. Yet, India did not have a famine of the kind of China had. Why, children? What was the reason behind it? Nothing. Very simple. Actually, this was a result of different government policies in the two countries. The existence of democracy in India made Indian government respond to food scarcity in a way that the Chinese government did not. So, children, one more advantage we could able to see in India, that is India has multi-party system. If China too had multi-party elections, an opposition party and a press free to criticize the government, then so many people may not died in the famine. This is also one of the reason for famine, moreover, involved indirectly in the major decision making. So, what happened was a development plan was launched in China. It was not planned properly. This led to the famine. Actually, as per the development plan, officials were involved in farming. This was actually done to improve production. But what exactly happened was, as they did not know much about farming, their decision went wrong and crops production reduced. At the same time, in India, 5 years plan was introduced. India being truly democratic country, a lot of people were involved in decision making, and what they did was they helped the farmers by introducing some measures in agriculture, and landless farmers were given lands. The image you see on the screen shows Jawaharlal Nehru giving plant to the farmer. India organized well and it started its development. While China economy reduced, this democratic government is better government because it is a more accountable form of government. Children, let us see second argument. There is another reason why democracy should lead to better decision than any non-democratic government. Actually, democracy is based on consultation and discussion. A democratic decision always involves many personal discussions and meeting. This takes time, but there is a big advantage in taking time over important decisions. Yes, children, this reduces the changes of rash or irresponsible decision. Thus, all these prove democracy improves the quality of decision making. Now, third argument. Democracy provides a method to deal with differences and conflicts. Example, in any society, people are bound to have differences of opinion and interest. These differences are particularly sharp in a country like ours, which has an amazing social diversity. People belong to different regions, speak different languages, they look at the world very differently and have different preferences. The preferences of one group can clash with those of other groups. Children, tell me, how do we resolve such a conflict? Actually, the conflict can be solved by brutal power. It will not give a permanent solution for this problem, children, but in democracy, it provides the only peaceful solution to this problem. In democracy, no one is permanent winner and no one is permanent loser. So children, there are three arguments were about the effects of democracy on the quality of government and social life. Children, let us go to the next arguments. Democracy enhances the dignity of the citizen. As we discussed above, democracy is based on the principles of political equality, on recognizing that the poorest and the least educated has to same status as the rich and the educated. People are not subjects of a ruler, they are the rulers themselves. Even when they make mistakes, they are responsible for their conduct. Finally, democracy is better than other forms of government because it allows us to correct its own mistakes. Children, as we saw above, there is no guarantees that mistake cannot be made in democracy. The advantage of democracy. Representative democracy Why representative democracy is required? The majority of people through their elected representatives, this become necessary because modern democracies involve such a large number of people that it is physically impossible for them to sit together to take collective decision. Even if they could, the citizen does not have the time to desire or the skills to take part in all the decision. So, children, this gives us a clear but minimal understanding of democracy. Consultation and consent of all those who are affected by the decision. No country is perfect democracy. We are people make it. Now let's see the ideal democracy. True democracy will come only when no one goes hungry to bed. Every citizen must be able to play equal role in decision making. Not just equal rights to vote can achieve this. Every citizen should have equal information basic on education, equal resources and a lot of commitment.
Amendments. Now, major decision by elected rulers, free and fair electoral competition, one person, one value, and rule of law and respect for rights. What is this? All these things? Yes. Summarizing. Definition of democracy. Feature democracy. That is features of democracy. Broad definition of democracy. Now, democratic versus non-democratic government. Difference between democratic and non-democratic government. The elected representative rule the government. That is, our Modi ji, he is elected by the people, so he is ruling the government. So, under how he is the that is this is a government is called as representative government. Now, next image. See the next image. People cannot choose their ruler or change them. Who is this? You know very well that in French Revolution, Louis XVI. Citizen enjoy freedom rights in democratic, but people do not have any freedom in non-democratic. Major decisions are taken by the elected leaders. In democratic, major decisions are taken by the elected representatives. But here, decisions are taken by their leaders. That is, Musharraf, he took the decision and he extended the term for the president, all these things. So, it is non-democratic. The government on free and fair election. There are no free and fair elections. That is, in democratic, the government is on free and fair election, but there are no free and fair elections. Here, there is a political equality, where in democratic there is a political equality, but there is no political equality there in non-democratic government. The democratic government functions with the limits set by the constitution. A non-democratic government can do whatever it likes. That is, the democratic government functions within the limits set by the constitution. What constitution is saying to run the government, they'll follow the norms of constitution. But at the same time, non-democratic government, we can't expect all these things. Whatever it likes, they will follow.